Your Country 1039 KGRT. That's the latest from Thomas Rhett. Angels don't always have wings. Very much true. Very much indeed.
Time now for the question of the day.
And in semi-related notes, speaking of angels, we all know that there is a lot of negativity in the world these days. Somewhat of an understatement, actually. Doom scrolling is a real thing. And of course, being constantly bombarded with bad news can seriously affect your mental health. But there is a way to counter it. A new study found that looking at positive news stories, especially those highlighting acts of kindness, can actually cancel out the bad effects of seeing the negative news stories. I guess the problem then comes in, can you actually find good news stories? Yeah, a little hard to find right there. I mean, you can only go for so much cute cat videos on YouTube. And of course, Facebook. Is anybody sharing good news every day? Not all the time. So that brings us to our question of the day. Is it easier or harder to find good news these days? Honestly, I think it's a little bit tough to find some of the good news things. I know during the dark times, I kind of focused on having at least a little bit of good news every single day because, well, it was the dark times. That's no way of getting around that. We needed the positivity in there. But yeah, is it easier or harder to find good news these days? I think you have to search for it. It is a little bit harder to find. Negative news just kind of comes at you no matter whether you want it or not. But the good news, yeah, you kind of have to seek it out, at least in my opinion. But what do you think? That is our question of the day for you. Is it easier or harder to find good news out there? Whether it's from friends, family, the news in general, social media, all of that stuff. Is it easier or harder to find good news? That is our question of the day. You can let me know your answers by giving me a call on the hotline 575-523-KGRT. Of course, we are live on our social media pages right there. And you can leave your comments in there as well, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You can leave those comments anytime during the day as well. But yeah, our question of the day today, is it easier or harder to find some good news? And I'll say this weekend, it was pretty easy to find good news. Why? All the graduations that were going out there. Congratulations, by the way, to all of the people out there. Oh, I got an answer from Amy, and she says, I guess it takes practice. Well, I'm going to tell you this right here in general, especially when it comes to Google. If you're online, you always find what you're searching for because that's what Google is supposed to do. It's supposed to search for what you are wanting to find. Keep that one in mind, and let me know your answers to our question of the day. All right, we are exclusively up on our social media pages right now, and yes, I think Amy is right. It does take a little bit of practice to go ahead and do that because you've got to look for it. The negative stuff always comes right at you. It's always in your face, and you got to kind of counteract that by looking for some good news. There are some websites that are out there that are pretty awesome. I'm always up for my sci-fi and fantasy news pieces that I'm looking for because usually that's always some good news. And generally speaking, the occasional cat video. I have to admit that one. They're cute, fluffy balls of fur that just cause my nose and my eyes to itch and be bad. But other than that, it's one of those things. So good news, where are you going to find it? In fact, if you want to share any good news sources, absolutely, you can go ahead and get that done. I find that when I'm on YouTube, I have a tendency to subscribe to things that'll make me a little bit better. Yes, there's a little bit of negativity in there because I am a news junkie, but also, you get some good news stories out of there every once in a while, and most of the other entertainment stuff is always good for the soul. But good news, is it easier or harder to find these days? That is our question. In the meantime, let's take a look at other news that's going on in and around the world. Disney World apparently is closing its interactive Star Wars hotel on September 30th. The hotel opened last year, and rooms cost up to $6,000 per night. Yep. That one there's a little bit of bad news. It would have been fun to do that, but I think they really ought to work on their pricing a little bit. Little League Baseball umpire shortage is occurring again. The sport lost 20,000 umpires between 2018 and 2022. That loss was due, of course, to the coronavirus epics there. And a lot of people saying, hey, this not doing anything for the summer is pretty cool, I guess. Nationwide lifeguard shortage, I guess, is occurring again. Here I am talking about trying to find some good news. I'm giving nothing but bad news. Here's some good news. Jeremy Renner continues to recover from his snowplow accident. He posted a video of himself jogging on a treadmill at his home in Reno. So that is definitely good news. Also saw that a mini golden doodle named Charlie Brown won the annual dog surfing contest over the weekend at Flagler Beach, Florida. So congratulations to Charlie Brown. Gonna probably display that nice trophy that they won in their doghouse for everyone to see. Yeah, there you go. And if you are a movie fan, you know that Fast X was released and it opened up with $67.5 million. Now, the film cost $340 million to produce, and the movie earned about $251.4 million worldwide. So they did make back their money. Okay, it's kind of $319 million. I'm sure they're going to get that extra $21 million in the next few weeks to come. But my understanding is they're going to do one more film and then call it a day, which probably should have happened somewhere around 5 or 6. Guardians of the Galaxy came in at second. Super Mario Brothers Book Club, The Next Chapter, and Evil Dead Rise rounding out your top 5 for your Hollywood box office. And once again, we are looking for our answers to our question of the day. Is it easier or harder to find some good news out there? Because we all know about the negativity that's out in the world today. And apparently, if you find good news, it will kind of balance things out, especially highlights of acts of kindness and positive news stories. So can you find those news stories? I think, in my personal opinion, yeah, you got to look for them. But believe it or not, they are out there. Kind of like aliens a little bit. They're out there. That is our question of the day. Once again, go ahead and call them in if you want at 575-523-KGRT, or go ahead and leave your comments below for our question of the day.